I want to invite you to turn to page 128. And we'll start with, I love every song on here. We'll start with the one on page 129, where it says Ki Eshmerah, page 129. And the words mean, when I keep Shabbat, God watches over me. It is a sign forever between God and me. It is one of the covenants of between us and God. Ki Yishmera Shabbat Yishmera Eini Ki Yishmera Shabbat Yishmera Eini Oti Lano Me'ad Beno Beni Oti Lano Me'ad Beno Beni. Let's do it again. Ki Yishmera Shabbat Yishmera Eini Ki Yishmera Shabbat Yishmera Eini Oti Lano Me'ad Beno Beni Oti Lano Me'ad Beno Beni. So, do I have any November birthdays in the room? We got Mr. Leo. Anybody else? Oh, that's correct. Adon almost bar mitzvah boy in next week. So why don't we have all of us that are under 35, all of us under 30, please come up and join our November birthdays. And I'm going to invite everybody to stand, page 120. It's just good to get in front of everybody. Oh, good. Oh, Tanya. Avery, when is your birthday? 24th. You're like the family. Yeah. Okay. I know. Have you ever heard that before? Really? Okay. Sorry. Shall we light the candles? Somebody, please. Are we lit? Oh, we're lighting. Bring in joy, bring in peace, bring in strength and community. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Please smile, say hello to the people around you, especially somebody you don't know. Go up and say hi. Say hi. My name is Shabbat Shalom, and my name is Shabbat Shalom. My name is. Nicely done. So I'm very, very excited about tonight's service. The Parsha this week is called Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah. And it begins by saying, I'll find it exactly, but Dave, you were just looking at it. I know we're not supposed to really talk about a woman's age, but we are very bold in Torah time. And we say, Sarah lived to be 127 years old. Such was the span of Sarah's life. But the way they parse it out is that they say she was 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years. And then it says that she died. But they want us to know that she lived that vital, beautiful, strong life. And I'm not sure if you saw the Sacramento Bee. There was an article this week about a woman who is 100 and something, and she wrote about 6 tips of what she has perceived in life to make you feel strong and vital. Did anybody read it? Roberta says yes, and Linda says yes. I can't remember all the points either, but they had to do with having meaningful relationships, having community. And another one was be bold about enjoying something that you enjoy. And if it's not your thing, then try something else. But be engaged. And another one was be proactive in your medical care. Don't when you go and get your car washed and you let your hands off the wheel. No. When it comes to our health, hands on the wheel, right? And she, in the article, if you can find it, she just really talked about how we can transform suffering and utilize it versus being used by it. And I thought it was very inspiring, and it brought me to what a perfect Torah portion for tonight. Tonight is our social action Shabbat, in which we bring up topics that are in our world, our contemporary world. And this was on our schedule, and I'm really glad that we're keeping it. So we will later hear from Linda Middleworth, and I'm so happy you're here. There's a few of you that that haven't been in the sanctuary, and I would just want to welcome you. So raise your hand if you haven't really been in the sanctuary before. You are? What is your name? George. Hi, George. Welcome. And one more time with your name. Jim, welcome. And Linda, welcome. Anybody else? Okay, I want to acknowledge and welcome Rabbi Stephen Chester and his wife, Leona. We're so happy that they're there, and they're sitting with Joan and Dave Bories, and they're part of the Eschaton community, and we're really happy that you're here with us. Okay, now we're going to get ready to welcome the Sabbath bride. Please turn to page 138. She must be in vibrant health because she goes to every single Jewish home and synagogue throughout the world on time. It is extraordinary. I wonder what she eats. This is when we stand and we face the door and we imagine the Sabbath bride coming into the sanctuary. And you'll notice she's in when you feel that inner smile and that peace, the little twinkling of joy that she makes her rounds throughout the world. Oy v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'sohola, toch emunei am segula, oy chala. He's in. Please be seated. As we were welcoming one another into the room, we have a couple of friends that just came in. Can you give us your names? I'm Seth. Hi, Seth. And yes. And friend, thank you for coming and being with us. Shabbat Shalom. You notice that on the bima, there are 2 chairs over there, and one has a talus on it, right? So we are committing that we want all of those hostages brought back. So, my friends, let's continue. Let's turn to page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon. Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boach Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we turn to page 144. And just for some extra practice, Ben, would you come up and help me with the Chatzi Kaddish?
V'yitda Shmei Rabba, ve'alma divrach yirteh, ve'almich malchuteh, b'chayechom uv'yomechom, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, uv'izman karim, ve'imem, amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mevorach, ve'alamu Yahweh, Yitbarach, Vishvach, Vishbar, V'umam, V'naseh, V'tadar, V'taleh, V'talal, Shmei Dekudashah, Le'ela, Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tu Shbechata V'nefemata, Da'ami Randaba, V'imem, amen.
Thank you. And see you later. Yeah. Yesher Koach. Friends, we turn to page 146 as we bring ourselves into this room of prayer. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Please be seated. Think about the signs of the seasons change that you've been seeing. Those chutzpahdik turkeys, the beautiful leaves changing. We join together. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates and thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. We continue on page 150. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Al ken Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, Kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, U'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, Ki hem chayeinu. ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. Please be seated, except for Ben.
Oh, page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובברכך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Thank you. So I would like to do a little teaching before Michamocha, which will be on page 158. I want us to look at the cover of our handout this evening. And we're so honored that later in the service, Linda will be talking with us about the topic. But I just wanted to give a Jewish context to this. And it says in Genesis, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb yielding seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you, it shall be for food. So let's open up the handout a little bit. Can I have some reading assistance? So we'll just kind of walk through this together. So what's Rashi say about it?
Rashi says, God did not permit Adam and Eve to kill a creature and to eat flesh. Only every green herb shall they all eat together. Commentary on Genesis.
And Rav Kook, who is, we think of him as the chief rabbi, right? Is he the first rabbi? Chief rabbi in Israel. Rav Kook says he imagined that eating in this way was bringing us closer to the Messianic age. By the way, I realize that talking about what food all of us eat is so personal. It is. So I just want to put that out there. We're very, there's a lot of things that we can talk about comfortably and argue about comfortably, but this is not meant to be anything other than an introduction to this certain kind of way of living. So I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead at that time.
At that time, the Messianic age, human beings will recognize their companions in creation. All the animals, they will understand how it is fitting from the standpoint of the purest ethical standard not to resort to moral concessions, to compromise the divine attribute of justice with that of mercy by permitting humanity's exploitation of animals, for they will no longer need extenuating concessions as in those matters of which the Talmud states. The Torah speaks only of evil inclination. Rather, they will walk the path of absolute good, as the prophet declares. I will make a covenant for them with the animals of the field, with the birds of the air and the creeping things of the ground. I also will banish the bow and sword and war from the land.
And Rabbi Shmuley Yanklowitz, he's a contemporary rabbi, says every living creature deserves love and respect. So thank you very much. Can I have another reader? Sherry? Thank you. Yeah. I wanted to make sure I welcomed our friends on Zoom. I want you to hear, and I'm glad that you're there with us. So just a kind of conversation about veganism and Jewish history. Okay.
There are several examples in Jewish history when a change to vegetarianism or veganism enabled Jews to maintain the dietary laws. Daniel and his companions avoided non-kosher food while they were held captive in the court of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, through a vegan diet, Daniel 1:8-16. The historian Josephus related how some Jewish priests on trial in Rome ate only figs and nuts in order to avoid eating non-kosher meat. Some Maccabees, during the struggle against the Syrian Greeks mentioned before, escaped to the mountains where they lived on plant foods, since no kosher meat was available. The Torah looks favorably on vegan foods. Flesh foods are often mentioned with distaste and are associated with lust, a lack of control over one's appetite for meat. In the Song of Songs, the divine bounty is mentioned in terms of fruits, vegetables, grapes, and nuts. There is no special bracha, blessing, recited before eating meat or fish, as there is for other foods such as bread, cake, wine, fruits, and vegetables. The blessing for meat, milk, and eggs is a general one, the same as that over water or such foods as juice or soup. Also, vegetarianism does not eliminate food-oriented mitzvot or commandments, such as kiddush, the sanctification of Sabbaths and festivals, through the recitation of a blessing over wine or grape juice, Birchat Hamazon, blessing after meals, and Passover Seder observances. This is Richard H. Schwartz, PhD. In summary, there is no contradiction between Judaism and its dietary laws and veganism. In fact, veganism appears to be the diet most consistent with the highest Jewish values.
Wow. Wow. I know. It's so interesting. So very interesting. So we were invited through something called the Vegan Challenge, where we were asked, our synagogue was asked to put on 12 vegan programs. We'll do our best. So the first one was when Deborah's daughter, Amelia, spoke at the High Holy Days briefly about why being a vegan is connected to her Jewish identity. And then we had animal blessings. Some of you were there with your, I was there with mine. You brought your bearded dragon. We had a service where we blessed our animals, and then tonight. So that's the learning to bring us into the next prayer. Let's turn together, page 157. Standing. No. It just says standing. I'm sorry. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. And there is a better place, a promised land. then the winding way to that promised land passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. So we turn to page 158. נאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. So we turn to page 160. We pray together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardians to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. Merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. Yerushalayim Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. We continue with our commitment to Shabbat, page 162. Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. שבת, שבת וינה שבת, שבת וינה שבת, שבת וינה. So we enter Tefillah together. Page 164, please stand. Yellow. La 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 la, la 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 la. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ביעבם. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. 168. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים והופך חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום ירלוך סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We'll read that together in English on page 170. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We take our time with the readings in our Siddur. Until 180. Say Adonai Eloheinu, ba'amecha Yisrael, u'tefilata bi'ahava tikabel, u'tahil ratzon. 175. Ba'amid avodat Yisrael, Yisrael Amecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Sha'otecha levadecha vayir'ah. Na'avod, na'avod, na'avod. Page 176, we take a moment pausing to gather 5 moments, if we can, either from the day or from the week or from your portfolio of gratitude, and just sum them up. 5 things that you can think of that have brought you a sense of peace and things that you're grateful for. Page 177, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha l'chana'eh l'chodot. Please be seated. Page 178. Shalom, Yisrael, Please turn in your Siddur to page 371. As we turn our thoughts to those in need of healing. So I'll share with you the list that I have, and then we'll take some time sitting quietly and thinking about the people that we're praying for. Penny Clark, Janice Schulman, Sandy Lewin, Faith Gobuddy, Meredith Rosenberg, Carrie Wismiller, Jerry Steinke, Sandra Albert, Bill Roselle, Mark Snyder, Sarah Durand, June Sangregate, Elisa Kaplan, Bruce King, Reuben Hess, Alan Schneider, Mitch Phillips, Traver Snyder, Sky Snyder, Margit Reichner, Shia and Larry, Lori Serkin, Richard Glazer, Matthew Lee, Richard Nadaka, Justin Langston, and Julie Hoffman. So I'll take some time we're sitting and being with that space. Please sit quietly. We join together with all of the names that you've lifted up, with our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael. We ask for their healing. I ask you to also take your handout out at this time. Shalom means complete, whole. While those hostages are not safely back at their homes, we are not complete. Join me. Shomrei Israel, guardian of Israel, we call out to you with fervent plea and prayer to bless and protect the civilian men, women, and children brutally kidnapped by Hamas and held captive in Gaza, along with the members of Israel's defense forces missing in action or held captive. May it be your will speedily and soon to bring them out from the darkness and the shadow of death. May the Holy One of blessing break their bonds, deliver them from their distress, and release them swiftly back to the loving embrace of their dear ones. Do all that must be done so that relief, rescue, and long life may be the lot of every one of the soldiers and the civilians who have been taken hostage. Act on their behalf, Lord. Take up their cause without delay, so that you fulfill through them your verse from Isaiah. Those redeemed by the Lord will return. They will enter Zion with singing, and everlasting joy will crown their heads. Gladness and joy will overtake them, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. So may it be your will, and let us say, Amen. Please join me on 371. Mishabeach Avotenu Mekor habracha Lavotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabeach imotenu mekor habracha Otenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We turn to page 376 and we stand for a prayer for our country and for Israel. Please stand, page 376. Together, O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body. We take this moment, as it is Veterans Day, to give thanks for all those who defended our country, who have served our country in the many ways of security for us. And we remember them and we thank them for their service. We continue with a prayer for Israel on page 377. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim, Sur Yisrael v'go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Simichat Ge'ulatenu. Hagen aleha be'evrat chasdecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha v'amitecha l'rashecha, tzarea v'yoatzecha, v'taknem be'etzah tova milfanecha, v'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam liyoshvecha, v'nomar amen. Please be seated. So I would like to invite my dear friend, Deborah, to come forward and to introduce our speaker. Thank you so much for being here.
Shabbat Shalom. My name's Deborah Davis, and I've been vegan for 12 years, and my family's vegan. So I would like to introduce Linda Middleworth. She has been vegan for 35 years, beating cancer, heart disease, and obesity. She's the organizer of the Sacramento Vegan Society, now with 5,277 members, and is active putting on vegan events featuring doctors and leaders in health, animal advocacy, and climate change. Linda's 79 years old. She's a vegan mentor health coach, as well as a food for life nutrition and cooking instructor. She's also the co-owner with her son, Darren Middleworth, of V-Dog, a vegan dog food business that she and her late husband, David, launched in 2005. And I feed my dogs that food and they all love it and the treats. So dogs could benefit from a healthy, cruelty-free, and environmentally friendly dog food. Linda's also a personal trainer and an aerobics instructor for California Family Fitness. She remains an active animal rights activist for PETA, DXE, Sacramento Animal Rights, and Animal Save Movement, and a ton of other things, but I'll leave it at that.
Good evening. I'm very honored to be here. It's very nice to meet all of you. And he's going to help me set up my computer right now. Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
Okay. So tell me if you see just the one picture up there.
Yes.
This one? Okay. So 35 years ago, I was a very sick woman. I had cancer, heart disease, prediabetes, and obesity. And I was teaching 25 classes of aerobics at the time, as well as being as a graphic designer. And I thought, how can I be so unhealthy doing all this teaching? I thought eating yogurt and chicken and fish were the health food. And I couldn't figure it out. My doctor couldn't either because he didn't understand. He said, your food is fine. In fact, a few years earlier, I had found a big lump in my breast and they had it taken out. The doctor took it out. And I said, why do I have this lump? Is it my food? And I told him I eat chicken and fish and yogurt and ice cream. And he said, oh, no, your food is fine. So I went on my happy way and was still sick after that. Fortunately, my new neighbor back then, I was explaining about all my health issues. And she said, oh, that's no problem. Just go find Dr. John McDougall. I said, who? Well, anyway, Dr. John McDougall saved my life. I wouldn't be here. I would have been dead 35 years ago because I was on my path to death. And now I'm still an aerobic instructor today at California Family Fitness, not too far from here. In fact, I have a whole bunch of Jewish people in my class, I'm proud to say. And some of them belong to this church too, this synagogue. And that's a picture of me in my aerobics class right before I was teaching just a few weeks ago. So that's the picture in the middle is about 3 or 4 years old, to be honest. And I think she touched it up too. So yeah. And this is Dr. John McDougall, who saved my life. And he's been 45, almost 50 years now, been helping people get well. And that's the book I use when I teach my coaching classes. And why he was told at the time, you can't call it starch solution, nobody will buy it because everybody's afraid of carbs, right? Anti-carb. But what he proved was them wrong because he sells so many of these books all over the world. And starch is our energy. And people don't realize that potatoes and beans and rice and peas and corn are what gives you energy. It's when you put the, all the other ingredients with it that aren't so good for you when it gets in trouble for you, like donuts and things like that. So he showed in his work that all the major countries in the world eat starch as their main source. So you can see, in different countries, of course, Asia was rice and things like that. And then I started, I forgot what year it was, but I think it was 2008. I started the Sacramento Vegan Society. We now have over 5,000 people in there in our meetup group. So I hope you can join me too, because we have speakers come. We have, before COVID, we had them come to a Seventh-day Adventist church in town. But now, after COVID, we've been doing everything online. I probably will start doing some live now in person. Then I do a lot of tabling for the Sacramento Vegan Society. And this is the company my late husband and I started in 2005 because we did all the scientific research to find out that dogs, yes, can be plant eaters because they're omnivores. And they can get all the protein they need, and our dogs are thriving. Oops, the lab results for our dogs are just fantastic. And then this group of doctors went together, we didn't know it, and did a whole year-long study on our dog food, and it came out stellar results. So very happy. That's my son who took over the dog food company after my husband passed away 9 years ago. And I'm sure glad he did because I'm not that kind of a business person. He is, and he does a great job. We sell in all over the United States and several countries, about 9 countries. And then I started my own vegan mentor business because I needed to help people get well like I did. So I got certified in a whole bunch of different areas with Dr. Neil Bernard as a Food for Life instructor. And then I helped, this is one of the first ladies, she came to my aerobics class. This is Margie, and she said, Linda, I need to lose weight. That's why I'm in your class. And I said, you're not going to lose weight in my class. I used to be a very heavy aerobic instructor. She said, I'm not. That's why I'm here. I said, no, you have to change the food. So she jumped right in. She had her sister with her who had diabetes for 27 years, type 2. And they both came to one class. They jumped right in. She lost 80 pounds and then she lost she went down to 130 pounds. And she did it quite quickly. So, and then her sister who had diabetes never had diabetes again. She completely had to go to the doctor, said, "What are you doing? I have to get rid of your metformin." "I'm just eating plants." "Oh, well, keep going because it's working." He had no idea to tell her to do that because doctors are not trained in nutrition, unfortunately. My own doctor happens to know about this, but he's afraid to tell anybody because he might get fired. He has to give out drugs and surgery. But he found me, I accidentally went to him because my other doctor was busy. And I had a little earache and he's looking at my ear and he said, "I am too." And I said, "You're what?" He said, "I am too." And I said, "Please tell me, what are you too?" He said, "Your earring says vegan on it." "Oh, okay. You're vegan?" And in 5 years that I've known him, he's never told anybody at where he works. He's afraid to get fired. That's how bad it is in the medical system. This is Dr. Neil Bernard. This is an old picture of me and him. My boss, as a Food for Life instructor, had to go back to Washington, D.C. and take these classes, and it was wonderful. I eat mostly potatoes. How many of you like potatoes? Okay, good, because we eat a lot of potatoes. They're one of the highest nutritious foods you can eat. In fact, Dr. John McDougall told me one time, "Linda, if you only eat potatoes and a little broccoli every day, you could live the rest of your life healthy." So, of course, you take a B12 too, but so we eat starches as our main part of our diet. 70–80% of my diet is starch. And that's why I'm almost 80 and I teach aerobics. I teach kickboxing. Don't mess with me. Yeah. And I teach step and I teach personal training. I've got muscles galore. And so when you eat like me and you exercise like I do, that's what happens. You have a lot of energy, even when you're old, right? It's really nice. So, of course, we eat a lot of color too. And that's roasted vegetables with a great sauce. And then in my Food for Life classes, I don't know how it got twisted, but turn it around. It's a surviving cancer book. And by Dr. Neil Bernard, I teach in my Food for Life classes. So I reversed my cancer by eating this way. And they said I'd be dead and that I had to do radiation and chemo. And I did one radiation before I found out about this, unfortunately, because then it killed my thyroid. Had I known 1 week earlier, I would never have done it because I read Dr. John McDougall's book and I found out that people were getting well when they changed their food. And I never went back. He said, we're gonna have to take that out, Linda, if you don't do the chemo and radiation. And I said, "I'm not coming back to you anymore." And I didn't, and I'm still here 35 years later. Then, of course, I reverse diabetes all the time, which is really nice. To see people get off their metformin and lose their diabetes. By the way, diabetes, does anybody know what's the main thing that causes diabetes? Does anybody have an idea? Yeah? Couldn't hear you. Sugar? Is it? Okay, what it is not sugar. Everybody thinks diabetes is caused by sugar. It's caused by fat, saturated animal fat. And what happens is the fat gets inside the muscle cell. Then when your pancreas is producing insulin to bring the glucose into your muscle to give you energy, it can't get in the cell because it's fat in there. It's like putting gum in a key lock. The glucose, the sugar can't get in. So your body thinks it needs more sugar. It's all about fat, saturated animal fat. That's why I can reverse. I'm not even a doctor and I can reverse diabetes. This is crazy. And this is Dr. Neil Bernard's Vegan Starter Kit book. It's very small, very nice. I suggest you get that one. That's my business card for Food for Life. This is me doing Food for Life cooking demonstrations. We do that in my cooking classes. I'd love to do a diabetes or a cancer class here for you if you like. Some more success stories. And here's what happens when you eat food that has fat in it. So if you eat oil, look, it doesn't fill your stomach up very much, but it's the same calories going across that thing. So cheese doesn't fill you up. And so you want to eat more and more. So you eat too many calories that way. And meat, and then you look at the potatoes, rice, and beans, look at how that fills up your tummy. So that's why it's good to look on the last two. So people get too much iron. People are concerned with protein. They put ads on TV. This is where you get your protein. We have a problem with protein, too much protein. If you get too much protein, look what happens. If you get too much iron from eating animal products, this is a real problem. We should be asking, where do you get your fiber? There's no fiber in animal food. There's cholesterol and saturated fat. And you can read here yourself what it causes. So people get depressed when they eat meat too. This is the use of water. Look, we're going to have water shortages coming up big time because of our climate change. And I just want you to take a look at that list right here. Look at the hamburger, 2,400, but instead the potatoes, 25, right? And you got the milk and the egg, the highest sources. So that's why we want to stay in the plant world. And climate change, you'll never hear this on the news. People think all our climate change comes from CO2, driving cars, planes, boats, trucks. But our biggest climate change is coming from methane gas and cutting down all the trees. That is our biggest source. We use 45% of our arable land to grow either the 4 animals we eat, cows, chickens, pigs, and whatever, sheep. And we grow just those 4 animals, but we have to cut down the trees to do that. And then the methane gas is far more powerful than any CO2 from the burning machine. And this is what's causing the main source of our climate change. So I need everyone to know about that because you don't hear it on the news. The meat, dairy, and egg industry are very powerful and have a lot of money. And so you do not hear about what really causes climate change. They have control of so much of our government with money and advertising. So the media doesn't talk about it. Greenhouse gas conventions are not fit for purpose. Fossil fuels have caused just 20% of global warming. Methane has caused half of global warming. Okay, here's almond milk versus cow milk. 36 calories for almonds, 130 for cow milk. So you're not getting all the same amount of vitamins either. Look at the calcium. 47% calcium versus 38% calcium for the cow milk. Okay, these are 3 books I would like you to get if you can. This is Glenn Mercer. He wrote these 3 books, especially the one called Food is Climate. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about as far as our climate change. We're just destroying our earth, especially with the fish. We have dead zones all around. This is my granddaughter. She's 23 now. And unfortunately for me, she's on the keto diet. How many of you heard of the keto diet? It's so popular, especially youngsters like my granddaughter, because you can lose weight, but it's like getting sick to lose weight. And if she stays on it very long, she'll probably get kidney stones. She already had her gallbladder removed. Gallstones have another name. They're called cholesterol stones. And so I think her kidneys will be in big trouble if she stays, and her heart disease will be terrible for staying on a ketogenic diet or the Atkins diet or the paleo diet. All of those are highly dangerous. But you do lose weight initially, and that's why the kids like it. Is something wrong?
No, keep going. Loose connection.
Oh, okay. This is how we should be treating the animals, right? This is how we should teach children about our animals, not put them on their plate. I have to show you this because it's a true story. That's the way you see bacon. I know you don't eat pork or pigs, but that's the way I look at the aisle, the meat aisle. That's what I see, because I go to vigils for pigs and cows and chickens. And did you know this about pigs? They're just as sweet as heck as can be. And they can recognize their own names in just 2 weeks old. They have the cognizance of a 3-year-old child. They're smarter than dogs. They can play video games. They can run up to 11 miles per hour, and they love belly rubs. This is how we should be treating them, not harming them. And this chicken said, when am I ever going to get out of here? Am I ever going to get out of here? You wouldn't believe, I'm not showing those pictures, but those pictures the chickens are in, I'm talking egg chickens as well as meat chickens. Chickens have different vocalizations for different objects. They see more colors than we do. They can differentiate human faces. They can plan for the future. I'm not even good at that, not very good. They can count to 10. Well, I can do that. This is what we should be teaching our children, to love them and care for them, not to harm them. Now, the next picture coming up might be a little hard to see. Close your eyes if it is. But did you know that fish feel pain? Just like your dog would, or your cat would, or you would? Yeah. Every year we kill 2.7 trillion. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. We suffocate them and we bludgeon them to death. And we even cut them alive, eat them alive. Yeah, some people do. Our oceans could be barren of them by 2048, the way we're going. One tuna fish gets $3.3 million. So that's why it's so popular. But it comes with PCBs and dioxins and mercury. And it's harmful for you. The saturated fat and cholesterol alone hurts you. That's what it feels like for a fish. This is your farm fish, which is really dangerous too. And they have to shoot it with dye and antibiotics. They have to put a lot of antibiotics in there to keep them alive. And then they shoot it with dye because they're not the right color when they're in the market. So they shoot pink color, and especially the salmon. Okay, this fish don't have 4 legs and fur and big eyes you can see. So we don't think of them as sentient beings, but they are. I used to think of them as just, things you had fun catching. I used to go fishing with my brother, and I didn't think twice about it because my parents taught me that. But now I know better. If you read the book, What a Fish Knows by Dr. Jonathan Balcombe, you'll see all the things fish feel. Yep, they make friends. This is what we should be doing with our children. We see animals as someone and not something. I want you to live your truth, find your purpose. You can help make healthy plant food choices so you can help yourself. If you don't help yourself, if you don't feel good yourself, how can you help anybody else, including the animals? None of us can help anybody else unless we are well. I would have been dead 35 years and I wouldn't have been able to help anybody. But now I know how to be healthy. I know how to have lots of energy every day when I get up. I feel so good. I want everybody to feel as good as I do. I have many friends who are already dead at my age. I have many friends who are sick with diabetes and heart disease and all these things because they don't want to know and they don't care about it, and their doctor never told them to. Right? The doctor said, "Oh, Linda, my doctor told me that." Sorry, your doctor wasn't trained in nutrition. They get 4 hours of nutrition in 4 years. And that isn't even the correct nutrition. My doctor went ahead beyond his medical degree to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. That's why he knew about healthy plant eating. You can help stop the unneeded animal suffering. I go to vigils where I see pigs coming in big trucks and I give them water right before slaughter. They're little babies. They're all piled together in big dirty trucks the size of this room. It is the most horrible thing you want to see, but I'd go and take pictures so other people can find out what's going on. You can help stop climate change too by changing to a plant diet. So start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. I'm a coach, and if you need help transitioning over to that healthy plant diet, I'd be glad to help you. That's what I do. And I'm hoping that you will want to try. And even if you don't think you can, people find out once they start doing it and they start to feel so good and they have energy like I do, then they go, I kind of like this. And they get down to the right body weight that they always wanted. Like me, I was an overweight, fat aerobic instructor 35 years ago. 55 pounds overweight, teaching 25 classes a week at the time, kickboxing and all kinds of high-end stuff. I still teach that stuff, but without all the extra baggage, right? And I know that we want to have fish in the ocean and we want to have clean air and water. Like the whales, they poop, right? And that poop, the plankton eat. And the plankton, I don't know how it works exactly, but if you read that book, Food is Climate, you'll see the plankton actually sends up something in the air and seeds the water. The water for us. It's all connected. And the other thing that we vegans do, we go on cruise ships. I don't know about you, but I think a cruise ship sounds so nice. You just sit there and get fed and you just go to all these ports in different countries. But what's really happening is the cruise ships put off a sonar sound, and that sonar sound actually drives the fish crazy. It's so loud. It's like if you were at home and you had a rock band in your home and it was 150 decibels and you couldn't stand it and nobody would turn it off. Well, the fish and the whales and the manatees and the belugas and everybody have 350 decibels blaring at them all the time. And there's no regulation on the cruise ship, by the way. And the vegans have their own cruise ships. I'm working on this, by the way. I'm working to get rid of this. But the dead zones they have all around the world now because of the pollution that the cruise ships drop in the ocean. They drop in all the poop and pee, all the food waste, and it makes the ocean acidic, and it kills the algae growth, kills their food. They can't get food, so they're starving to death. We're killing manatees like crazy. They're starving to death. That's another thing we have to worry about. We have to stop the dead zones, and we have to stop trapping the fish in the ocean and putting all this sewage in there. There's no regulation, none, on cruise ships. They are completely devoid of anything. So I think I wanted to mention that because so many people think of it as, just a wonderful, relaxing thing to do, but it's not worth what's happening to our oceans. It really isn't. And I know that every day I get up and I feel so good knowing that I'm not myself. Well, I can't help it when I drive a car. I'm hurting something. Although my car, I found out is a vegan car. I have a Mini Cooper. It's a vegan car. I didn't even know that. It's all vegan. There's nothing in it that isn't vegan. But every time you drive your car, you're killing something. So I can't be perfect. None of us can. But I'm doing my best every day not to hurt anybody else. And, more violence happens with people who eat animals. People who eat animals have more violent behavior than the people who eat the plants. I don't know what that is, but killing begets killing, I think, indirectly or directly. And we have enough killing in this world, don't we? We have enough of that. We have to show love and compassion for the other species. The human species is the only species to go ahead and try to kill everybody else. I mean, some species have to eat other animals, like lions have to eat, deer and things like that. We are plant eaters. The human diet is from plants, and we don't have to eat one animal to survive. I got muscles, and that's protein, baby, right? I got all the protein I need. You can actually get too much protein on a plant diet. If I eat too many beans, my kidneys will be taxed. I tell my clients, try not to eat over a cup of beans a day for that reason. So it's not from a lack of protein, but everybody has a lack of fiber. We don't get enough. Fiber is key to your optimal health, and that comes only in the plant food. There's no fiber in fish. There's no fiber in beef hamburgers. Nope. So that's what I wanted to let you know. And I really feel so privileged to be able to talk about this. I could talk about this for like the next 10 hours if you want to wait. I could go nonstop with this because I find it. Oh, you talk about the radiation I had on my thyroid. I mean, I had just one, and it killed my thyroid, unfortunately. I wish I'd never gone. If I had met my neighbor 1 week later, I would never have done that. So, any questions? Yeah. It really doesn't happen. So what happens when people first go plant-based, they can have,
Could you repeat the question so people on Zoom know what the question was?
she asked if your blood sugar will drop too low when you go plant-based. Is that correct? Yeah. No, your sugar stabilizes. When you first go plant-based, you still have a lot of fat stuck in your cells. So sometimes it'll shoot right up in the beginning, but as you keep going, then it drops down and levels out and becomes perfect. All my diabetes people who I've helped have no problem with that. Yeah. Any more questions? Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. That was excellent and a lot of cool information. Thank you so much. Who's giving our announcements this evening? Susan, would you please come forward? Hi, Susan. Susan is the chair of our Social Action Committee. And do we have, you're wondering if I have the announcements. I've been told. Yeah, I know. Well, we can read from there and I'll look around. Okay. Oh, here's some. There you go.
Okay. Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. So we've got a lot of wonderful things happening here at Congregation Beth Shalom. But before we get to that, we want to thank Rabbi Nancy and our guest speaker, Linda Middleworth. Thank you very much. And thank you to, actually, that's me. Thank you to tonight's ONIC sponsors, which, so tomorrow morning, Torah study will be on Zoom at 9 a.m. led by Rabbi Nancy. This Sunday, Neshama is in session beginning at 9 a.m. This Tuesday, November 14th will be a really significant event. It's on your handout. It is an interfaith Thanksgiving gathering, choosing the path of gratitude. And we're going to have leaders from a number of different faiths. And everyone is welcome to attend and join for this annual gathering. And we'll see you back here next week, Friday, November 17th for Shabbat with a Beat service at 7 p.m. We've got a number of other things going on. Speaking of Thanksgiving, we've got our annual turkey drive. And that will be on Sunday, November 19th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Drop off your turkey and other needed items here at CBS. Flyers with further details, I believe they are in the foyer. And if you would like to get some Hanukkah items, the CBS gift shop run by Roberta Malkin has what you need. Special gift shop hours. The gift shop will be open on Sundays when the Shama is in session. Friday, December 1st, 5 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. prior to family service, and on the third Friday of each month from 6 to 6:45 p.m. For questions, contact Roberta. And save the date for our fundraising Hanukkah service and dinner, Friday, December 8th, beginning with services at 6 p.m. with our choir, followed by the always wonderful Hanukkah dinner. To register, please visit our website and grab a flyer listing all the delicious items you can order to take home. We also need some volunteers to help out for the event. So please look at your email or consider reaching out to our administrator, Jenny Jeffrey. Sunday, December 3rd, 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. We're having a kickoff for our next year Purim spiel. There's an information meeting and read through at CBS. This year's spiel is sure to be a totally rad experience. And if you have not yet turned in your Teruma form, you could find some forms in the foyer, or please email Jenny Jeffrey. And I just wanted to mention a couple of other things. So our next month's Social Action Shabbat, we're going to have a speaker from Family Promise, and we're going to be helping out at with some of the homeless folks who are now being sheltered. We're not having our Family Promise in-house, but we're going to be helping out at their new tiny homes in North Sacramento. And we look forward to having a lot of folks' participation in that. So with that, Shabbat Shalom, and
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And you know, Saturday, November 18th. Yeah. Woohoo. Mr. Ben Vector becomes bar mitzvah. So anyway. Okay, my dear friends, we continue with our last two prayers. We turn to page Aleinu, page 586, followed by the Kaddish prayer. Please stand. עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 588. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, הממלכנו ופסולתו, ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשיבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחתנו. Page 591. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Please be seated. We turn to page 598. We are aware that last night or yesterday was Kristallnacht, the night of the broken glass. The night that changed the course of history for our people. So we hold that in our hearts as we prepare for Kaddish. And we hold in our hearts those who have died serving our country. As it's Veterans Day, we remember them and we honor them for their service. Remember those who have died in the IDF, serving and protecting Eretz Yisrael. We mourn the losses of all innocent lives lost in this terrible war. On this Shabbat, we remember those who have died within the 11 months. Sunny Eisen, Wade Al-Fayoum, Ruth Lander, Ellen Sandler, Melinda Foreman, Maxwell Freeman, Theodore Dwight Bunce, Arthur Buden Grohl, Brett Tonsano, Cecile Kentworth Kaplan, Matt Drake, Noga Panini, Jean Beeman, Stanley Carter, Gary Malkin, Ronald Davis, Marion Blumberg, William Joseph Loza, Louisette Brown, John Rice, Stanley Mendelson, Wendy Phoenix, Maxine Jacobson, Ann Ball, Laura Sender Lawrence. And we remember with much love the yard sites of David Allen, Rose Bailey, Robert Duncan, Sophia Eisner, Ivan Guinness, Janet Jacobs, Esther Leibovitz, Peter Meyer, Eugene Radding, Robert Safran, Gabriel Schutzingle, Jaime Siegel, Lynn Stein, Lionel Stein, Elizabeth Stern, Sophie Wasserman, Harold Chester. Please stand in his memory. Are there any others in our community who have lost loved ones whose names I don't have?
Mary Katz.
Zichronam lebracha. May their memories always be for a blessing. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kedusha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrama. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world. And together we say, amen. Please be seated. So, Linda, thank you. Thank you. Wherever I liked that, I liked so many of your slides, and one of them by Arthur Ashe, the tennis player, right? Who said, you got to start from where you are, right? So wherever we are, we all want to be healthy. And you gave us some great tips, and I want you healthy. So let's do all that we can to take care of our bodies that we've been given, and to take care of the animals, and to take care of the planet, Let's turn to page 649. So let's stand. Get ready for a delicious oneg. I believe there is a vegan challah. I hope you like it. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Please make sure you say hi to somebody you don't know as well as the person next to you. You know what I mean?